pen ready. So I'm going to do 6.8 divided by 2. Now, what I'm going to do is I actually kind of think of this as 68 divided by 2. So I know 2 goes into 6 3 times, which is 6. And if I subtract, I get 0. And every time I subtract, I must bring the next digit down. Now the question is, how many times does 2 go into 8? Well, it goes in 4 times. And 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract 0, I'm done. I get my answer of 3.4. All right, now we're going to try some A, B, and C here. So here's what I want you to do. If you are like, this seems pretty easy, do A, B, and C by yourself. So pause the video and then just play the video to see if you were correct. Now, if you want to do them with me, then just stick with me and we'll do them together. Just depends on how much you understand. All right, so I'm going to start with problem A. So remember, if you're doing them on your own, pause it and then restart it when you're ready. So in problem A, we have 7.5 divided by 3. And I can have a counting by 3 list. Remember, this will help you with the problem if you need to. And I have to decide, don't forget to put your decimal up here, how many times 3 goes into the 7. So if I look here, it's going to go in 2 times. And 3 times 2 is 6. And when I subtract, I must bring the next digit down. So then the question is, how many times does 3 go into 15? So here's 15. Remember, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And 3 times 5 is 15. Subtract, I get 0. So my answer is 2 5/10. Now in B, this one you could actually do really quickly. I'm going to do 3.5 divided by 7. Now once I put my decimal up in my quotient, think of it as a 35. And you might say, well, first off, 7 doesn't go into the 3, right? You might say 7 goes into 35 5 times. And 5 times 7 is 35. Subtract 0. I'm done. My answer is 0.5. All right, and then we have problem C. I have 9.8 divided by 2. So I could do a counting by 2 list if it helps. You don't need to. If you're good at division and you don't need to do it. So let's figure out how many times 2 goes into 9. So 2 goes into 9. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 times, which is 8. Every time I subtract, I must bring a digit down. So I get 18. Now 2 goes into 18 9 times. Remember, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I get 18. Subtract 0. I'm done. So I get 4 9/10. All right. Now there would be the easy ones, because now we're going to go down to the interesting ones. So let me move that box out of the way. And let's take a look at example 2. Now this is one where you're going to see we're going to run into a little bit of a roadblock, and I'm going to show you how to get past this roadblock. So let me cover up what the book did. And I'm going to make this a little bigger to cover the problem. So let's get started. So first off, it says find 7.7 divided by 14. So I'm going to do 7.7 divided by 14. I'm going to put my decimal straight up into my quotient. And first thing, 14 does not go into 7. So we have to figure out how many times 14 goes into that, what looks like a 77. So if I count by 14s, I'm going to do 14 and 28. I know those in my head. Now remember, to add 14 each time, remember 14 is really a 10 and a 4. That's what makes up 14. So I'm going to add 10 and then add 4. So 28 plus 10 is 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. I'm going to add 10 more, I'm at 52. 52 plus 4 is 56. I'm going to add 10 more, I'm at 66. Plus 4 is 70. Add 10 more, I'm at 80. Plus 4 is 84. So I just did a counting by 14 list. Now, 14 into 777 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, which is 70. Subtract, I get 7. Now, at this point, you've always said that's remainder 7. But now that we're dealing with decimals, we're not dealing with remainders anymore. So the question is, what do you do? There's nothing left to bring down, right? Wrong. If there's nothing to bring down, you add a 0 to make something to bring down. So now I'm going to bring down, and I have a 70. So the question is, how many times does 14 go into 70? Well, we already said it goes in 5 times, which is 70. Subtract, now I have 0. So my answer is 0.55. All right, so let's go to the next page here. We're going to try some of these together. So let me get this set up. Now remember, you have workspace over here on the right where you can do a lot of this, or on a separate sheet. But I'll be doing them below. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a choice. If you are like, I'm good at this stuff, I don't need to watch you step by step. What I want you to do is do D, E, and F by yourself. And then I want you to restart the video and check your answers. If you need a little more help, I want you to do D, E, and F with me. So let me get started. I'm going to start with D, which is 9.48 divided by 15. And I'm going to put my decimal straight up. And I know 15 doesn't go into the 9, so I have to see how many times it goes into what looks like a 94. So if I do a counting by 15 list, 15, 30, 45. Now remember, I'm adding 10 and then 5, because that's what makes up 15. So 45 plus 10 is 55. 5 more is 60. Plus 10 is 70. 5 more is 75. So I'm up to 90. And I'll go to 105, and I can add more later on. So 15 goes into 94. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, which is 90. I'm going to subtract the 4 and bring down the 8. Now, how many times does 15 go into 48? It goes in 3 times, which is 45. I'm going to subtract the 3, and remember, this is where you would say remainder 3, but no more. If there's nothing to bring down, I'm going to add a 0 and bring it down. Now my new number is 30. So 15 goes into 30 2 times, which is 30. Subtract 0. Now I'm done. So my answer to D is 632 thousandths. All right, are you ready for E? So in problem E, let me do that here. I have 3.49 divided by 4. And you could do a counting by 4 list if you want. I'm not going to do one for this one. So I know 4 does not go into 3. But 4 will go into 34 8 times. And 8 times 4 is 32. Every time I subtract, I must bring the next digit down. Now, 4 goes into 29 7 times, because 4 times 7 is 28. Every time I subtract, I must bring something down. So I added a 0, so I had something to bring down. 4 goes into 10 2 times, which is 8. Now I subtract, and guess what? I still don't have 0, so I'm going to add another 0 and bring it down. And 4 goes into 20 5 times, which is 20. Subtract 0. So my answer to E is 8,725 10,000ths, or 0.8725. All right. Are you ready for the last one? Problem F. So I'm going to do another box here, so I have some workspace. So in problem F, I have to do, it's 55.08 divided by 17. Now for 17, that's a little harder to count by, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little bit of times tables. I know it takes time, and you're like, I don't want to do this, but it will help you later on with the problem. So I'm going to do at least the first 4. Now the first 2 I just have memorized. 17 times 3 I'm going to figure out. So 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So I'm up to 51. And 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is, so I'm up to 68. All right, now I'll add more on if I need to, but that's going to be my start. So first, let me get my decimal and my quotient. And 17 doesn't go into the 5. but it will go into 55 3 times. I'm using that fact, which is 51. When I subtract, I get 4, and I'm going to bring down a 0. I'm at 40. Now 17 is going to go into 40 2 times, which is 34. 40 minus 34 is 6. I'm going to bring down the 8. And 17 goes into 68 4 times, which is 68. Subtract, I get 0. So I am done with that problem. My answer is 3 24 hundredths. All right, so that was problem F here. Now, let's get back and let me see if I can slide this out of there. This is all like in my way. All right, this might help. Let me get rid of those boxes. Yay, they're gone. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a real-world problem. So in example 3, it says, Lynn is mailing a care package to his brother. The table gives the cost for mailing packages. If Lynn's care package weighs 3 pounds, how much is the cost per pound? So here's what we know. I'm going to highlight some important information. Lynn's package is 3 pounds, so I'm highlighting this in green. A 3-pound package costs $6.74 to mail. Now the question says, how much will it cost per pound? So we have to divide in order to figure out what 1 pound cost. So I'm going to do a little bit of work right here. So I'm going to take the $6.74, and I'm going to divide it by 3. And don't forget, you could do a little bit of counting by 3 list. Doesn't hurt, and it doesn't take that long. All right, are you ready? So 3 goes into 6 twice, which is 6. Every time I subtract, I must bring something down. So I have a 7. 3 goes into 7 twice, which is also 6. Every time I subtract, I must bring something down. 3 goes into 14 4 times, which is 12. Every time I subtract, I must bring something down, so I'm going to add a 0 to bring down. And 3 goes into 20 6 times, which is 18. Now at this point I can stop, because remember the question says how much does 1 pound cost? And remember guys, when we are talking about money, we only need out to the hundredth place. But do you see how this 6 is a 5 or higher? Do you know what that's going to do to our 4? It's going to bump it up to a 5. So the answer to this question would be $2.25 per pound. That's what it's going to cost to mail that package. Okay. So now G is the last one we're going to do here. It says find the cost per pound of a 2-pound and a 4-pound package. We are just going to do the 4-pound package. So if you look back up at the chart, a 4-pound package cost $7.87. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do $7.87 divided by 4. Remember, to find the cost, remember money, you're going to have a dollar sign and 2 digits after the decimal. So you don't have to go very far in this problem. All right, pause the video and get started. Restart the video when you're done. All right, guys, so I did a counting by 4 list in red. Wasn't that nice of me? Well, now we're going to solve the problem. So I have to figure out how many times 4 goes into 7. And 4 goes into 7 1 time, which is 4. I'm going to subtract and get 3 and bring down the 8. Now 4 is going to go into 38. That's 9 times down there, which is 36. I'm going to subtract and bring down the 7. 4 goes into 27. That's 6 times there, which is 24. I'm going to subtract and bring down a 0. And 4 goes into 30 7 times. Now I can stop right there, because remember this is going to be money. So the question is it going to be $1.96 or will it round up to $1.97? Look at this next digit here. That's a 5 or higher, so guess what? It is going to cost, for if you mail a 4-pound package, $1.97 per